Hello and welcome to Stereotypical, a podcast about music and the people that make it, brought to you by the OX Collective. On today's episode, myself and Jack are going to be reviewing new music from Coldplay and Finneas. Before we get into the episode, I'd just like to say, as always, a massive thank you to Allo Sound Studios for hosting us and sponsoring the episode. I will link them below. Go check them out, they're great. Without any further ado, here we go. Stereotypical, episode 17. Let's go. Hello, welcome to Stereotypical. My name is Liam. I am, as always, joined by Mr. Jack O'Neill.
Yep.
How are you doing this week?
I'm doing this week. I hate when you put me under pressure like these sort of deep questions.
Well, just
this
not
week,
deep questions.
I'm all
How
right,
are you
yeah.
doing?
Let's see if I'm boring all right, or I can go through my issues. But yeah, I'm all right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could do a whole different podcast on your issues. if
Not
you want.
again.
Before we get into the bulk of the podcast, we should say that aside from being, podcast co-hosts, friends,
Good looking chops.
just sound lads, Jack and I are also musicians. We write songs together sometimes. Sometimes we even finish those songs and decide to put them out. We've got a new song coming out in November. We operate under the name Stockholm. The song is called Pink Moon.
Oh,
We haven't announced the release date yet.
no.
We haven't decided the release date yet. It's going to be the back end of November. We know that much. So if you like the podcast and you want to support us in other ways, the link to our Instagram will be in the description, whatever it is on YouTube.
Description.
In the description. So you can go give us a follow there. And like I say, the song will be out next month. So, without any further ado, Coldplay.
Coldplay. The boys. The official
The
boys.
boys.
The OG boys.
The boys. Your favourite band?
One of.
One of your favourite bands. I also like them. I am also a fan. What were your thoughts sort of leading up to music from the Spheres?
Of
the Spheres.
Fucking get it right. Music. What was my thoughts leading up? Well, obviously nothing was out for a while.
Yeah.
And, as we spoke about before, with a lot of people having time in 2020, we kind of expected like the backlog to come out afterwards from what people were doing. So I was a bit excited. I was more excited when I knew that Max Martin was on it.
He is the Donny, as you have proclaimed in the past. Max Martin is the Donny.
Donny of all Donnies. He is.
I think I'm always going to be interested in a Coldplay album. Even though, there's Coldplay albums that I really like, some that I'm not too fussed on. It's just the boys, in it, you know what I mean? I'm always going to be game for it. I liked Higher Power as well. When that came out, I was game.
It was a grower on me, High Power.
Yeah, I sort of, and we'll get into this later a little bit, but I did think just based off that, I was like, oh, this is sort of not too far away from sort of some of the more upbeat vibes that they've done before, some of the sort of Milo Xyloto, Head Full of Dreams kind of vibes.
Yeah.
I like the song though. What other singles came out before? Was it
after High Power?
Yeah, like before the release of the album.
So
Did they really put anything else out?
My Universe came out with BTS.
Oh yeah,
That's a single.
I'm
pretty
really
sure Kalori Chora is a third one.
Which is outrageous because it's like 10 minutes long.
But Coldplay is always a mad argument anyway for anyone who's interested or disinterested, because there's half of the argument is they want them to be like they was fucking 15 years ago.
Yeah, back in the day.
Sorry, Mum, for swearing. She's told me off that before. And but obviously, if you ask any artist, they'd want to be progressive in what they do.
Yeah.
So for people like in the industry who know stuff, we'll just know it's pretty normal.
Yeah, everyone sort of evolves. I think it makes for an interesting band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like bands that just stick with the same sound. And obviously Coldplay have been going for so long now that they're bound to mature and they're bound to change.
And like they say, they've obviously, people who want them albums, they've made them and they're there to listen to forever.
You go back and listen to.
So it's something new.
Or whatever. Yeah. What were your initial thoughts then? Getting the notes up.
Getting the notes.
What were you thinking upon first listen?
On first, well, you've already said it that it's like Milo Xyloto vibes in it. From start to finish, pretty much. And something we've spoken about before is doing when we're writing the song, something like a theme or like a concept.
Yeah. And
they've obviously took this concept for the whole project and ran with it.
Yeah.
How did you listen to it on Spotify?
No.
No, it's at the bottom on Spotify, it's got the little Genius cards and stuff.
What?
The Genius cards, Genius, the music people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And how the artist can talk through the song.
Yeah.
Everyone starts a planet and the name of the planet and the language of the planet.
I was reading about that. Which, to be fair, I think it's an interesting concept. and I sort of read a bit about the idea of what the album was going to be before I listened to it, and I was intrigued, and I think it's a good way to sort of release. It's a good way to remove yourself from a music making process, to be like, let's try and imagine what music would be like in a different context. You know what I mean? That said, when actually listening to it, I'm not overly hyped. I'm not overly thrilled. I'm not in love with it. The songs that I like, don't get me wrong, I do agree with you in saying that, you know, it's got sort of Milo Xyloto vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit of Head Full of Dreams vibes, you know what I mean, on some of the songs. Or even just in its sort of ability to be uplifting, you know what I mean? Like, one of the things I put on my notes is that it's unapologetically life-affirming at times. It's very joyful. And even when it's not being joyful, it's sort of in the feels a little bit with maybe like the slower songs, like the song with Selena Gomez. Yeah. Or Human Heart, as it's being called, but it's just the heart emoji on the thing, which is interesting. Actually, these are the first people to ever have emojis as a song. True? Well, apparently so.
No way. That can't be true. That the first people ever.
Yeah,
maybe like big
because I saw something before they put the album out of Chris Martin saying that they were trying to get music, because music platforms wouldn't do it at first. They had to like wrestle with it a bit, because obviously it's not words, it's just an emoji. But maybe that's a sign of where we're going. But yeah, what I mean is sort of, even in its slower songs, it's very, there's a lot of feeling to it, there's a lot of heart to it, you know what I mean? But that said, it definitely isn't reinventing the wheel, or even reinventing the Coldplay wheel. You know what I mean? It sort of does, a lot of the time, it does the job of what a good rom-com does. It's sort of it's a pleasant enough experience.
Like, listening to it, I sort of think of it as where Chris Martin is on his journey of being alive. Sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, which is often what Coldplay albums have come to represent.
Because like when you think about it, from like, I don't even know where from, like where can you begin? At like Viva La Vida onwards, you can kind of see it, especially now he's like, you know, a philanthropist. Yeah. More than like other things. Yeah. And you know, like you said before, this album they were trying to get like eco-friendly and sustainable tours and that sort of stuff.
Have you seen how they've come about that, by the way?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So just for anyone who hasn't seen, like, the shows run off renewable energy. They've also got it so that the floor of the arena or stadium or whatever, when people move on the floor, it turns that kinetic energy into energy that's powering the show, which is pretty cool. Yeah, to be fair.
Good. It's their future.
Fair play to them. They're pushing.
And I like how they've organised like the buses. They're big green buses. Like when you buy tickets, you can like it says like from these places, so it stops people getting in cars and going, or trains or whatever. And then for every ticket sold, there's a tree planted. I know that as well.
Which, it's funny because like Coldplay was sort of quite philanthropic.
Give it a go.
I can't
say it with chest, bro.
Philanthropic.
Yeah, there you
go. I just didn't know whether to pronounce the PH as a Phil. Oh, a Phil. Phil! They've always been quite philanthropic, but back in the day, much in the way that it was viewed when Bono had done similar things, it was seen as like uncool for bands to be like that. Whereas I'm kind of glad that we've grown out of that ridiculous opinion as a society.
I guess it is like, obviously, if it's trying to save the planet, it shouldn't be memed, but it will be.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's not like
popular. No, the same as everything else. Memed is.
No, it's that sort of classic rock and roll idea of it's not really cool to give a shit, but it is cool to give a shit, kids. But anyway, back to the album.
Yeah, one of the things I put is I'm a big fan of like the intermittent tracks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the little interludes and that. Yeah, it's cool.
Like sometimes people can take the piss with them. But like I like how the soundscapes are really good and it does bleed into like each song, which makes it like a better experience. It helps
build the world.
Yeah, definitely.
That they're trying to live in, doesn't it? So what? I'm maybe jumping ahead of ourselves here, but just do you like it?
I like it. I do like it.
Okay.
I think it will also grow on me in time.
Yeah, I think there's definitely songs on there that will grow on me. The songs that stood out on first listen as well, to be fair, like I really liked Humankind. I liked People of the Pride. I thought was very not Coldplay, but it was cool.
I'll woohoo. I'm like when I heard that for the first time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
You fucking just don't expect it, do you?
No, I definitely did not see that coming.
What did I write down?
I was like, oh, this would be so good live.
It's naughty.
It's naughty, innit? A bit of a guitar riff, bringing back a bit of the rock and roll.
A bit of glam rock in there. With a touch of black skin in it, but
yeah, well, it's got that like shuffle beat on it.
That would be sick to see.
Yeah, it'd be so good live. I think a fair few of these songs would be good live. You know what I mean? Like I say, it's quite joyful. It's quite life affirming. I think just to get a little bit niche, I think the mixes could have been a little bit better. The drums were a bit dull for me. There was sort of weird sub basses in strange places that stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I thought like it's maybe the most electronic thing they've done so far, but like it still sounds like a Coldplay album. But I put like the sound doesn't sound as emotional. Obviously, like in the slower tracks, it will do because that's the whole point.
Yeah,
but do you know what I mean? Like you're saying, like there is a lot of like bass heavy stuff.
Yeah.
With like then the songs like which is like electronic bass lines and drums with like just a guitar thrown in.
Yeah, it's weird. I think they have.
I wonder how they went about it in the studio.
Well, it's interesting as well, isn't it? Because I don't know how much. Obviously, Max Martin is famed for having worked with everyone to ever be successful in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how much he's worked with bands. You know what I mean? Like, how much has he done the whole like? How much of Max Martin's past production would you say is like live stuff? You know what I mean? Like live drums and like guitars and stuff. He very much comes from the pop sort of R&B / pop world. You know what I mean? I think it's interesting though, but I don't know if it always gels the way it would had it been produced by someone else.
Well, like on this album, you mean?
Yeah. And I don't know. I can't put my finger on if it's a production problem or if it's a mixing problem. But some of the songs just sound a bit. Some of the songs have got things in it that sound out of place, and some of the drums just sound a bit flat for me.
Right.
But that could just be personal preference, to be honest. Like there are production moments that I love. I sort of love the grandeur of some of it, of like that opening to People of the Pride. I love the sort of harmonies and the subtleness of Human Heart. With Jacob Collier and We Are King, that's a great tune. I think Selena Gomez does more harm than good, though. To be honest, I'm not a fan. I like the song.
Yeah,
the song's good. The song's sort of a classic Chris Martin-y piano ballad thing. But I don't think I've ever heard a Selena Gomez song where you can't tell that she's just been melodined to fuck. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Like with my experience from Selena Gomez, like it's obviously when she was like a Disney Channel star, she was like she's got this like sort of like talking, soothing, singing voice now, which she didn't have back then, and that's what she's kind of ran with because it's done well. And like she's one of the like best-selling female artists.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is she?
Yeah, she is.
I feel like
numbers Dunny lie, my friend. She will be. But I understand the fact of why they would have had a voice like that on that track.
I can understand maybe having a female voice on that track. I don't know what attracted them to Selena Gomez, though. I don't think she's got a particularly unique or interesting or even that good of a voice, to be honest. And like I say, I really like the song. It's kind of a shame, you know what I mean? I'd love to hear just a Chris Martin version of that song.
Yeah, no, I think it was all right. Like, in my head, I sort of seen it as like Selena Gomez sort of playing Gwyneth Paltrow. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, what, in the sort of narrative of it?
Yeah. Which I think would make sense with the why option of getting her in rather than someone who was like maybe a more chesty, better singer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. That doesn't make for a good song.
I don't think it harms it, though. I definitely don't think it harms it. Let me scroll.
Well, okay, so, but what are have you got any beefs with it? What are your negatives? I mean, I already said that I'm not a fan of the BTS track. It's just bland.
It's not for you.
It just really doesn't.
It's like another song,
It just doesn't do anything for me. I'm Beautiful, which I'm presuming is how it's pronounced. Yeah. It's kind of annoying with the pitched up vocals. They sort of went off far too long.
Beautiful sounds like the 1975. I think it really does.
I don't think it does.
Take the vocals out, listen to it. When someone out there makes an instrumental version, listen to it. But I did put, if they took the alien voice shorter, then I'd fuck with it, yeah. I'm glad it changed. I'm glad it changes.
Yeah, I'm glad it changes, but it got to a point where I'm like, oh, I don't think this is going to change. You know what I mean? It went on for far too long, and it was kind of annoying.
Like this, I knew that was a Hail Mary when, again, the Spotify card at the bottom was like, the alien voice, this is supposed to sound like this. I was like, if you have to tell someone what you're attempting to do, it's obviously not going to work.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I to be fair, I didn't even think of it in the context of the concept that they're trying to put out. I was just like, this sounds silly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does sound a bit mad, but like, I get it. I get what they're going for.
I'm not averse to a bit of pitch shifting.
Yeah,
but it went a bit too full chipmunk for a bit too long.
Never go full chipmunk.
No, never. I was also going to say that I think it's the one that's just the infinity symbol. Is that the instrumental one?
Yeah, the 3-minute one.
Yeah, I didn't really get it. Like it was nice, but I don't think it was doing anything interesting enough to be instrumental. You know what I mean? Because obviously, if you're leaving the gap and not having vocals in, you're gonna have to say something with your music, and I just feel like it was a bit too repetitive to do that.
I think.
What are you checking on here?
That's the one that John Hopkins was on.
Really?
Which I thought you would have really liked. I feel like you would have heard it, because I know you're into that sort of stuff.
Well, I can hear the John Hopkins thing sort of throughout a few of the songs, and throughout like particularly the sort of interlude type bits. Yeah, he sort of adds that ambience.
The opening track I really like. I really like it. It really reminds you of the Milo Xyloto times, which we've said is one of my favourites.
Also a time that John Hopkins was involved in.
But like with that Infinity sound, I was like, this sounds like that, but better done. It's more thought out. It works rather than like the 30, 40 second ones.
Yeah.
So I thought you would have enjoyed it.
No, I mean, it's one of them. Maybe if I listen to it more, I'll get into it. But just, you know, the first take, first and second time I listened to it, it didn't really connect with me. Like I say, it didn't. It wasn't doing anything particularly interesting enough to grab me.
Yeah, I think the project as a whole has got a good range of different tracks. Like it's like a story, which they usually do, and I usually like. Yeah, no difference. Where like we can compare to. In a second, when we've gotten onto the next topic, that one doesn't really do it as much. Do you know what I mean? So, especially when we was listening to these for this podcast, I was obviously comparing them when I was listening. But to get onto the big beefy ending that is Kalora Chora, what do you think? I says it all, mate. You can just stop there if you want to.
To be honest, right, let me take you through the journey of listening to this album.
Okay.
I was like, when it started, right? So it starts with the instrumentally sort of thing. That it's like, oh, this is cool, setting the mood, good vibe. Then if I'm not mistaken, it goes into Higher Power and Humankind. I was like, oh, big sort of beefed up Milo Xyloto pop vibes. The further down the track listing we got, the more it's like, this is missing the mark of what I thought it was going to be. It started off down a certain path and then just slowly veered off. So like I'm saying, like, there were certain things I didn't like about it, like the Selena Gomez thing, Beautiful, the BTS track. By the time we got to the final track, I was kind of a bit like, I'm already a bit disappointed. You know what I mean? And it's not that any of it's particularly awful.
What, in that track?
It's just about in the album.
Oh, right, okay.
It's like, it's decent. But by the time I got there, I was in no mood to listen to a 10-minute long song that seems like it could have ended 4 times before it actually gets to the end. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you're saying.
It's not even like it didn't feel like a full 10-minute long song. It felt like almost part of a rock opera and I guess that's probably what they were going for, you know what I mean, given the concept. But it felt like it did this bit and then it lulled and then it did this other bit and then it lulled again and then it did this other bit and then it lulled again. And I'm like, these just sound like not fully realised ideas that have been sort of meshed together. And I appreciate what they were trying to do. It's maybe just not for me as much as anything. And also like stuff like that, I don't know how much I'm going to go back to it. Yeah,
that's exactly what I've put. Like I don't necessarily agree with like what you said about like it's what it sounds like when it was put together, but it definitely just sounds like this is the end of the album track. Like if they wanted to radio edit it and 3-minute they could do and release that as a song, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere apart from the end of the album.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, unless like, you know, when they do tours and stuff, they throw that at the end as well. But I'd have it as more of like a walking out thing. Do you know what I mean? Like after the show.
Yeah.
Just get it on to give people the going out music.
Yeah, it probably like I say, I don't knock what they were trying to do with it. It fits thematically and it draws together the story of what they were trying to say and the whole concept. But just personally, it's not something that I see myself revisiting an awful lot.
Yeah, as a Coldplay fan, as a massive Coldplay fan, I will put it maybe around the middle.
Yeah. There's things that I like about it and there's things that I don't like about it. You know what I mean?
The things that I do like, I really like, and then the things that I'm not necessarily bothered with, I can just like forget.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel like, right. So if we were to put it like, here's the middle, here's really like, and here's I don't like. I was just sort of either side of the middle, not by much. You know what I mean? The things that I liked, I was like, oh yeah, this is nice, this is good, this is entertaining. I'll probably listen to this a bit, but And the stuff that I didn't like, I didn't hate. I didn't think it was awful, but I was just like, I was a bit indifferent, to be honest. The whole album didn't leave me wowed.
Yeah.
It didn't have a lasting impact.
Did you expect more when you knew you was going to listen to it?
You know what? I didn't, because having heard the last album, I was sort of like, Coldplay are out there just doing their own thing. They're at a point in their career where they don't really have to think about pleasing people or this, that, and the other, which is, fair enough. Like, more power to them. I long to be in that part of my career. But I was just like, I might like some of this. I might not like some of this.
Yeah.
I didn't have high expectations, even though I did like some of the teaser tracks. It just is what it is. I think all around it's a decent album. It's an okay project.
I'd say it's above that. I'd say it's a bit better than what you were explaining it. But that's maybe coming just from because we know that I like them. Yeah.
And I as a fan, I will listen to it more. And there's definitely tracks on there that will probably grow on me more.
A lot of the times, like I'll listen to an album thinking live, especially Coldplay, because they've got all these back catalogues of songs.
Yeah.
What are they going to pick? Like with this being, Music of the Spheres World Tour, how much are they going to take from this album and put in the set list?
Yeah. And you know what? Now that you're saying that, and now I'm thinking about it, the songs that I did like off it,
Makes
and maybe
sense.
the ones that they would, you know what I mean? I saw a video the other day of them playing People of the Pride live.
Oh yeah,
which is
send me that.
It's good. I will. I'll find it and link to it.
But this is what I mean. Like we know the process is like people write a lot of songs and pick the ones you like, which again is like a confusing concept to think how they've put this together. But with People of the Pride, on again the Spotify Genius Cast, thank you for my research, said that it was a song that would have been on Viva La Vida, but they couldn't get past the verse.
Oh, that's crazy.
So sometimes like they just keep going back to stuff and they just finished it. And you can kind of hear it a little bit.
Because to be honest, like the when that guitar kicked in, I was thinking towards some of the more guitar-y moments of like Violet Hill and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, all in all, not a bad project. Not awful. Not great for me. But we'll see if it's a grower or not. So, Finneas.
Not Ferb.
Finneas, the solo artist, the solo project.
And can't you tell he's a solo artist from this album?
His debut. Oh, what does that mean? What is that supposed to mean? He's firing shots already. Finneas, as we know, Billie Eilish's brother.
Yep.
Grammy-winning producer, sort of mega songwriter of the past few years. This is his debut full-length album. Obviously, he came out with that EP like 2 years ago, maybe, the Blood Harmony one with...
Was it that? No, I don't think it was that long ago.
It was 2019, mate.
Really?
Yeah. I was a fan of that.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, you liked Lost a Friend, right? Yeah. I like Finneas. I have a lot of good things to say about Finneas. This album, Optimist, what were your thoughts?
First of all, ironic title.
Why?
Not very optimistic, is it? But we'll get the what's it called? Like, the elephant out of the room.
Yeah.
That like it's obviously mixed brilliantly.
Oh yeah.
And like I like where the vocals sit on like every single track.
Yeah. It sounds really good.
Yeah. That's the most simple way of putting it. All of it sounds very good.
Yeah. As you would expect.
But it's a lot of it is like minimalism, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can't really go wrong that much because there's not that much production stuff going into it.
I would argue that it takes more skill to be minimalist.
And make it sound good, yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than obviously just like doing half a project.
Yeah, because something that I've and probably we have fallen to in the past is the fact that you think, oh, you just got to throw the kitchen sink here to get it to sound flat.
Yeah, maybe in the past.
But
not with Pink Moon.
Coming November.
But
yeah, I think there's some classic Finneas moments on it.
Yeah, I've put defo what you expect.
Thank you very much. Good night. That is exactly how I would sum up this album. It's what if someone said, imagine a Finneas album.
Yeah,
it would be this album.
Yeah,
which isn't an awful thing. You know what I mean? And it's his debut. You know what I mean? I think he's in a weird position in the sense that he's been around for the past like 5 years, and he's put singles out and he's put the EP out, and obviously everyone knows him from his work with Billy.
Exactly.
So his production style is very much in the public ether.
It's well known. Yeah, it's already
something.
Popular.
Yeah, it's already something that people are trying to copy.
Yeah.
So when we hear this first album, we're like, oh yeah, this is just more of Finneas, which it's his first album. It's his first full length project by himself. Yeah. So you kind of. That's fair enough.
He's already he's off the line before he started. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So which is going to be hard.
Yeah. How would you rate this album overall then? What was your experience going into it?
So I like the choices of syncopation that's used throughout the first few tunes. And that sort of bop and stuff.
Yeah.
Sad boy vibes again, what you'd expect.
Course, yeah.
Don't know why it's called Optimism. And it's got a nicely levelled backline instrumentation. Yeah. So stuff like the little sounds like that you're gonna like anyway, but it just sits well. Like it's not too loud.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm a nuisance for doing sometimes. Like something that's meant to be ambience or in the background. Like I like it too much, so I'll turn it up.
Yeah.
And it loses its point. But nothing grabbed me as much as stuff that I've heard before.
Yeah. I think I do prefer that EP. But maybe that's just because that was fresh to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is there's a lot of this that are more of the same, sort of the classic Finneas piano ballads. Again, that sound great. All the pianos on this sound wonderful. The singing's great. The vocals sound great. I like songs like Once in a Lifetime and Love is Pain. They're just sort of gentle, nice Finneas songs.
I didn't write any of them though.
And oh really? But I do agree with you in the sense that it did nothing like. There's nothing amazing going on. There wasn't even necessarily many songs that like I wasn't like, oh, this is a standout song.
Yeah.
Some albums you're like, oh, this is fine, and then one of them hits you, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? But and then this is this was also my opinion with the Coldplay one though. Like I just listened to it and went, oh yeah, fine. I mean, I like the song 90s, but I'd heard it before the album came out.
I didn't hear it before I started listening to it for this. Because with Coldplay, like even though like I'm a massive Coldplay fan, like I was purposely waiting off because I knew we'd talk about it.
Yeah.
So I wanted it to be fresh.
Yeah.
But I just wanted it to go a bit deeper progressively.
What do you mean?
Do you know what I mean? Well, obviously not if you're asking me. But like in the first track, it just doesn't like. It just doesn't get there. Well, the first track's good because it like changes.
Yeah.
But all the changes like after like 2.5 minutes, which coming from someone who like will analyze that sort of shit is too long. Like with the 90s, like I think it came in a chorus too late. Like if it kicked in like midway through like the second verse or something, like I'd be like, oh, and then I can hear it again for when it does come in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd be more enticed.
Yeah, it's an arguable point, I guess. I mean, I was just talking to Jono about something similar to this because in the song that we were working on, the sort of mad bit that happens that you're like, oh shit, doesn't happen till like 2.5, 3 minutes in. And I'm like, and he's like, you should like move this to after one of the choruses.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, and I was like,
how wrong is he?
I was like, but what I like about it is that you have to wait for the whole song and then this thing happens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think maybe more sometimes when he's working on like Billy's songs that he knows are going to be hits, Obviously, Billy's got like long meandering songs and shit, but like, you know,
You think that's
the more upbeat Billy songs, that's more calculated to be like, okay, this is going to be a song that hits people straight away. You know what I mean? It's going to get there. It's going to get to the point. It's going to be catchy. People are going to love it. Whereas with his solo shit, it's generally more drawn out and melancholic anyway. And I, for one, kind of appreciate the fact that he will leave stuff until the end of the song. It does become a little bit formulaic.
Yeah.
And he does it a fair bit on this.
Yeah.
And there isn't really any of those like standout bops. But a track like 90s, I do think it's cool that he leaves the crazy sounds until towards the back end, because otherwise if it came in earlier, it's then like, well, we've heard it, you know what I mean? Where are you going to go? Whereas if you...
Yeah,
you sort of get rewarded for your listening experience, you know what I mean?
I completely understand what you're trying to say. I just feel like at points in the project it dips and it doesn't come back.
Yeah.
So if you had songs that did do what I'm suggesting, I maybe wouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, as, you know, like I like Finneas, but maybe like an average listener who doesn't like doesn't think deep, like there's that meme in like when we listen to music, we don't listen to music, we listen in a fucked up way that we listen for certain things.
Yeah.
Like you try and figure out, try and deconstruct it, don't you? Like as you're listening. It's terrible experience. I wouldn't recommend it for anyone. But for the average person, if you brought it in, the change would be quicker, the rewards quicker.
That's exactly what Jono said.
Like the thing that gets me is my friend Isaac. Like every time I talk to him about music, he's always talking about like the skip factor.
Yeah. Like
how early on are you skipping the song? And for him, sometimes it's like 2 seconds. It's like instantly.
Yeah.
Like with the Stockholm stuff, it's like it takes too long. I'm like, I know we need to work on that, because we start with the chorus, and the chorus, like, it's in songs don't have like lyrics straight away. Do you know what I mean? Because that'll be for later. So sometimes I think like that for other stuff. Like if I was someone listening to this, would I skip it now?
Yeah.
And if I'm rating albums and stuff, no, but it's how it is. That's how the world works.
Yeah, but I don't like the idea that I'm making music for people like that. Like that's what Jono was saying. He was like, "You're a music listener. You're an avid fan of music. You dissect it all, so you don't mind waiting for something to happen." You know what I mean? Because I will, if I'm listening to music, I will listen to the song and then judge it, rather than listen to the first 30 seconds and then judge it. And I wouldn't personally want to be making music that catered just to everyone's 7-second TikTok length attention span.
You have to cater to it. You definitely have to keep it in mind. Like, and obviously, like I'm saying, like this hasn't done it. Yeah. And therefore, I'm giving the judgment.
Yeah, but again, it depends on his intent, because he might be like, you know, there's no pressure on me to be huge and like dead catchy and dead out the gate straight away. This has to hit now, because it's just Finneas. Like, he's in a position where he doesn't have, as a solo artist, doesn't have to, a solo artist doesn't have to be, he doesn't have to be successful. This album doesn't have to go to #1. He's sorted. He's Billie Eilish's brother.
Very true.
He's going to produce
what he wants.
He's going to produce what he wants, but he's going to produce every Billie Eilish album for the foreseeable future, right? And she is here to stay. So it's just like, this album is purely artistic expression from my point of view. Does that mean that it gets a free pass on the fact that it sometimes is just average? No, not really. I agree that it maybe needs more standout songs.
Well, to be fair, right, I've got 4.
Not even standout songs, but like
how many is it? Is it 14, 13? I've got it.
I don't know. I can't remember.
13.
So it's a decent length.
Yeah, just above. Yeah.
But you want 10 tracks in there.
Yeah,
10's not enough. I'll go for 11 or 12.
I've got The Kids Are All Dying, a second song, I believe.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
You like that?
I like how the stabs are on like the 1 and the 3. Do you know what I mean? Like the sort of like reggae sort of vibes.
It's got that what I've written down to be some moving thing. Some classic Finneas attitude. So like some of the songs have got like that, what you just did with your mouth then, where it goes off at the side, it's a bit cheeky, and it's like, bit of that, you know what I mean? There's a bit of that going on. And I like that. And I also like his sort of lyrical turns of phrase sometimes are quite good.
Did you? Because can't think of many profound lyrics on the whole record.
I'm not saying there's like a load of standout profound lyrics. I'm just saying I like the way he constructs his lyrics in general. I like his voice, and when I say that, I don't mean his physical voice. I mean his artistic, lyrical voice. I like the way he puts things sometimes, you know what I mean? Don't fucking roll your eyes at me. If Paul was here right now, you'd be looking up at Paul.
I would be looking at Paul, like, fuck, here we go again, Paul. Rip Paul, by the way.
Rip Paul.
Not here again for this week.
We got no podcast producer. If you want to be a podcast producer,
we'll put an application link in the description.
Email us. I've also got written that Peaches Etude.
Fuck that tune, bro. Fuck that tune. There's no need for that to be on there. It follows the song that's most similar to it. It doesn't need to be there. I've not wrote it down, but I could just remember being furious listening to it. There's no point. That's quite long as well, isn't it?
It's not that long, though. I think it's only like 3 minutes.
Only 3 minutes?
What I put is that it's beautiful, but I can't decide if I like the fact that
bold, underlined, and italic, bro. All caps, but...
I don't know if I can decide whether I like it being instrumental or not. The thing is, right, like I say, I
put that away.
Simmer, right? I like an instrumental, right? And I like a beautiful instrumental, and I like an ambient piano instrumental, right? And this is all of those things. It's standalone. You play me that song, I'd be like, that is gorgeous.
Yep.
That's really good. But like you say, follow something that's kind of similar. And also, there's nice melodic hooks in the piano of Peaches Etude, which, what the fuck does that even mean? That I'm like, oh, this would be nice with a vocal on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe that's a sequencing issue. Maybe if it was somewhere else in the album, it would maybe, or if there was like less.
If it was last, I'd forgive it.
If there was less like piano-y ballady shit on the album,
then
it'd be more forgivable.
What album was we talking? Oh, it was the last Arctic Monkeys album, and I was like, fuck, someone has bought him a piano, and by God, have they used it?
Yeah,
this is the sort of like, especially like after like track 4, it kind of goes into the piano section of the album.
Yeah, but like we say, that's just Finneas, innit?
That's just you, bro. You do.
If you're talking Finneas solo shit, I think of Ginger Man playing a piano. Elton John.
Again, the same way. What?
Ginger Man playing a piano.
Elton John's Ginger?
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that on a TikTok. I don't know I don't agree on that one.
Elton John.
But what was I saying? So if we're looking at this album, thinking, again, set list, what's he throwing in? There's no way that's coming anywhere near.
Tell me this guy's not Ginger, bro. Elton John is Ginger. Paul put a picture up in the edit.
I don't like me nan. I don't want to say she's Ginger.
You know what's funny is Josh's nan genuinely looks like that. That is just Josh's nan. Anyway, sorry, you were probably making a very valid and important point.
I was just saying that Peaches Etude would not be in consideration to be played anywhere else, ever, apart from on the album.
No, it's not. It's not a live.
Doesn't make sense to me. Like, this could be a fit, like you're saying in your example, this could be an idea that needs something added to it, like a vocal.
Mm-hmm.
So save it. It's obviously you've said it's gorgeous and fantastic and all that stuff. Save it for later. Get back to it with a good vocal. Don't put it on your debut album because we know what he can do and we can see it in the track before.
Yeah.
Don't need it in my opinion.
That is valid points.
From the opening point where I said I put maybe some features. I would have enjoyed to see someone else on there.
I like albums that don't have features, man.
But is that just you, bro? Is that just your little way of thinking?
Yeah, but it's just more concise. It's more. I like things that are more one person's voice. And again, I don't mean physically. I mean like artistically, one person's expression.
That's why. Is that not why it's like a feature and not a collaboration?
I don't know. I don't know how you would classify that. But
like
either
a feature
way,
is here. Do this on this thing. A collaboration is hard.
No.
That's how I'd see it.
That's not what a feature means at all.
And then a collaboration would be, do you want to work on this together?
No, when people feature on shit, it isn't their verse.
Listen, my friend, you cannot speak for everyone in this world.
No, but I can speak for most people.
You can't say it's definitive that this is how things happen. The same way that, like, when we've talked about stuff in the past, like this would be good with like a.
But most features, a feature is not sing this verse I've written. A feature is do a verse on this. You know what I mean? Think of all the rap features, you know what I mean? Jay-Z ain't writing Kanye's verses when he features
but again,
on
it's also,
Monster.
this is the beat, this is what I'm going for. Whack it on. I don't think it's, do you think this is good?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, I'm not a fan of features anyway. I'd rather just...
But I would like more features on this.
That's
I think it would, like, I was getting bored.
Was that because of the lack of features or just because of the sort of melancholic vibe of the album?
Well, I'd say, yeah, probably the second point, but I feel like if there was a features on some of the ones that I feel like were dipping and losing my concentration.
Yeah. Take Selena Gomez off the Coldplay album. Put her on this. Finneas produced Lose You to Love You or whatever the fuck that Selena Gomez song is. I don't know what it's called. You know, but yeah, any closing points? Any other things you want to talk about for this album? I just thought it was okay. I thought it was just fine.
Yeah, it's okay as a body of work. Maybe I would have liked some variety, but I guess if you know what you're good at, then stick to it.
Yeah. So to sum up,
in summation
of my opinions on both the Coldplay and the Finneas albums.
This is what you went for.
Yeah. They are. That's definitely a Coldplay album, and that is definitely a Finneas album.
Yeah. I feel like I'll
5 out of 10.
Both. I feel like I'd listen more to the Coldplay one again than the Finneas one again. I'd like some songs off the Finneas one, like I'd put into playlists and stuff, or I'd save them, but I wouldn't listen to that whole.
I'm maybe the other way around.
Yeah.
And I also think that maybe had this been a year or two ago, and I was just generally a more sad human being, the Finneas one would have spoke to me more. But I'm happy now.
Let's give a clap for
Be happy now. That's one of the songs on it, isn't it? It is, yeah. Take my word. But yeah, Finneas album, not bad.
If you feel like you know someone that we should do next, or look for up-and-coming music.
People have, and this is genuine, not just me saying, people have asked for this when no one has asked for this. Someone said that we should do Lana Del Rey.
I like Lana Del Rey album.
I think that'd be interesting because I'm not really familiar with a load of Lana Del Rey, so it'd be cool to...
Was on the Tumblr scene, was you? We've been through
this.
No,
I was very much on the Tumblr scene, mate. I just wasn't into Lana Del Rey. Because I was too busy listening to The Neighbourhood and Bum in the 1975.
You said it, not me.
Okay, so it is time, as always, for Jack's tactical tracks.
Yes.
Would you like to explain the premise to anyone who hasn't seen
previous episodes? Not really. If you've not seen it before at this rate, then
Jack asked me a question or puts me in a scenario or something, and I answer with a song. So, what is today's question?
What a roller coaster we've been on this week, people. What a roller coaster. So, we have finalised the option. Because obviously we need to talk out beforehand.
Yeah.
To figure out what we're going to say, is what would your X Factor audition song be?
And I don't like this because I don't like the idea that I'd have to go on X Factor, but go ahead.
You don't have to go on X Factor.
But in this world, I do.
Yes, right now you do, yes.
Go ahead.
Have to.
What's yours?
So, as always, I completely ignore the rules by picking more than one song.
The thing is, this is your segment.
I know.
You can do whatever you want to do.
Okay, so prior to hearing the song I would choose, I would have always gone for How to Save a Life by The Fray.
Right.
I feel like that's one that you'd see. Tells a story. You can get, deep and gritty with it.
Yeah.
But since hearing it, a song that we both know, and we've spoken about before, even on the pod, is Don't Take the Money.
Oh, really?
That's what I'd go for.
Don't take them on X Factor?
Yep.
That's a radical choice.
Like, I wouldn't say it's very poppy.
I say
not
it's very
for X Factor vibes, not that sort of level.
No, it's a different kind of poppy, isn't it?
Yeah.
But do you, because the way I was thinking about it is like you have to be good at singing them.
Yeah.
So you're particularly good at singing Don't Take the Money?
Not particularly, no.
Well, then what?
But obviously I'm not a particularly good singer anyway. But if I'm going to get the judge, hang on, 1 second, have a minute. If I'm going to tell these judges that I want to be put through, I need to feel it. I need to be emotive. I'm giving them a story.
So for context, right, we were deliberating about what today's tactical track should be, and he said X Factor song, and I said, why don't we do karaoke song? What was your go-to karaoke song, right?
Totally different.
And the way you differentiated those is, it's totally different. The X Factor one, you want to get through, so you've picked 2 songs that you aren't good at singing.
But I'm not good at singing in general, so the question's void.
That's not true. have more faith in yourself.
Anyway. But, you know, a karaoke song would be one I enjoy singing for the people I'm around, or just one I'd like singing anyway. Well, now I'm trying to, what's the word? I'm trying to prove to you I am worth this chance of whatever it is, $1 million. Who knows? Recording contract. So, yeah. So I feel like I'd put a story to it. I'd get emotive about it. I'd get a bit sad. You know what I mean? So, oh, this song reminds me of this. It makes me feel this way. This is for George. Oh, George, miss you every day. And I'd go for it. And I feel like it's got, and vocally as well, it has got the range. Like obviously, it starts off like pretty low.
Yeah. Okay, that's a decent shout.
Thank you.
You've somewhat justified yourself.
Thank you.
I am gonna go
justify myself in my own segment.
Yeah. It's better than 2 episodes ago when I kept saying songs and you was going, no, you can't do that, cause. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Finneas. It's called Lose My Mind. Lost My Mind, actually, it's called, not Lose My Mind.
I know this one.
It's off that first EP, that Blood Harmony EP. And the reason I chose it, aside from the fact that I like it as a song, is just because it's one that it's one of the only covers that I can maybe sing okay. At an okay enough level to maybe impress people.
So you're going pure off like pitch. This is what you can sing well.
Yeah, well, because I've got quite a low voice. And it's in that register, that sort of Finneas' lower register. And I think I do a decent cover of it. I don't like doing covers because I struggle to sing my own songs, let alone anyone else's.
Very true, very true.
But I can do a decent Finneas. Not all the time, not if I'm going high, but I can do that song. So I was like, when you were like, oh, well, you're thinking of one that you want to get through. So I'm thinking, what the fuck can I sing that
just sing well,
that isn't going to make me sound shit?
Right,
you know what I mean? And that is what I landed on. It's a nice, heartfelt, ballady song. Sort of shows off my very limited vocal ability. Yeah, it's not particularly well known.
Again, that's another one as well. And like, if you're going on for an X Factor audition, you'd want people to like, oh, I know this, and I know they're doing it well.
I would maybe, yeah, to a degree. I was going to argue that it would be good to do one that people didn't know, because like how many people have gone on there and covered How to Save a Life? There's probably been a couple at least. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter because the X Factor's obsolete.
It is, man. I was talking to my dad about this the other day. Like, how mad is like just stuff changed in like so little time? Like the Masked Singer now is like the one that's popping and stuff, and that's like a Black Mirror episode. Watching that in itself,
it is. Fuck the Masked Singer, is shit.
Like, where's everything gone, man? Where's like X Factor, Britain's Got Talent? What else has there been? Okay. The Voice,
Big Brother.
It's all gone, mate.
Good. I'm glad.
Crazy times.
Well, it just proves that it's not a sustainable model to become successful in the music industry.
No, like the X Factor's known for this.
Unless you're One Direction.
Yeah, the second place people have done well.
Yeah.
More than the first.
Yeah.
Party politics, mate.
What?
Party politics. Disgusting.
Right. Well, there we go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to the end of this episode of the Stereotypical Music Podcast. Thank you for, new music reviews, the 3rd installment of. Thank you very much for watching and or listening. If you've watched this on the YouTube version, please be sure to subscribe.
On the YouTube.
Click the notification bell so that you get notified when we upload videos, because the algorithm is sometimes a wee bit of a bitch. If you're listening to the audio version of this
and you've just not seen me pointing,
like, subscribe. You're missing out on our faces while you're listening to the audio version. Go over to YouTube. Thank you very much. I've been Liam. This has been Jack. Goodbye.